Did you know that 85% of women leaders said that they will not hire a woman if she knows that they have small children? 85% of women leaders said they will not hire a woman if they know that they have small children. Didn't that leader had small children at some point too? Maybe, maybe not. But 85%? Come on, girls. Let's help each other out. Jeez.
If companies can pay women less, why don't they hire all women?
Well, that's a whole nother story.
Really?
I understand your argument, and I understand that you're angry.
I'm not angry.
I can hear it in your voice.
I'm not angry.
Your voice.
I'm hearing my voice and I sound pretty calm.
You have now shifted the quality of your voice, and I thank you for that.
Okay.
And you've just given me a condescending look, and that's another reason why we need feminism. And now I'm done. And thank you so much.
They say companies hate women, but what if the truth is far more uncomfortable? What if it's not prejudice, but productivity, risk, and real-world decisions? Today, you'll hear emotional stories and confront what no one has the courage to say about work, the job market, and real value.
Are companies unwilling to hire women? Ooh, great question. I'm at the age of getting engaged, and I've heard people say, like, don't show your ring on calls. God forbid you're pregnant or trying to get pregnant.
I hate the answer I'm going to give you because it's so sad.
Go for it.
Yes. Talking about getting engaged. Congrats.
Thanks.
It'll be like, oh, but she's going to go on a honeymoon, and then she's going to get married, and then she's probably going to have babies and then not be here. There is a sad reality where we're still dealing with this, where it's almost like, well, maybe take your engagement ring off before you go to an interview. I hate that those words are even coming out of my mouth. With my second pregnancy, I didn't want anyone to know. I was like, they're going to think I'm not committed. There's like this very frustrating stigma that I'm not going to be connected or committed or great at my job. And this time around, like this current pregnancy, I've like trying to show, hey, you're capable of doing more than one thing at a time. And I am trying to be proud of it and show it. And I found that like being authentic and vulnerable has actually opened up a broader, better client pool for me. And the people who don't like it are probably not the people I want to be working with anyway.
What she describes isn't a conspiracy against women, but a cold business risk assessment. Companies don't hire based on feelings. They hire based on predictability, continuity, and return. When someone signals even unintentionally long absences, frequent leave, or reduced availability, employers recalculate cost and productivity. This applies to anyone, male or female. The issue isn't the ring, pregnancy, or motherhood itself, but the operational uncertainty it can create. Companies don't punish motherhood. They prioritize stability. When a professional proves through consistent results that she delivers despite challenges, the market responds. Ongoing performance always speaks louder than personal symbols.
The amount of comments I get about women can complain about the gender wage gap when they become bricklayers and construction workers and plumbers is astounding. These are some of the most hostile work environments for women in terms of explicit discrimination, bias, and harassment. A recent report from the U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission took a closer look at the construction industry to understand why both women and people of color were so underrepresented in these high-paying jobs. What they found was blatant discrimination in every part of the process, from recruitment to hiring to advancement. Both gatekeeping women and people of color from accessing these jobs to begin with, and locking those who do enter the industry into the lowest paying roles or pushing them out of the industry altogether. In an interview with the media outlet The 19th, the chair of the Equal Opportunity Commission was quoted as saying, "This is an industry where we have folks saying, we just don't hire women. And for those who do get hired and often harassed and report their harassment, rather than responding with accountability, the industry still responds overwhelmingly with retaliation and reinforce a culture of who does and doesn't belong and who does and doesn't get to advance and access greater positions of power and pay."
There's confusion here between real discrimination and practical incompatibility. Environments like construction and heavy trades are harsh because they demand physical endurance, emotional resilience, and adaptation to a tough culture, not because they hate women. When few enter and many leave, the market learns from data, not narratives. Companies look for people who can handle the pace, not those who need the environment redesigned for them. If harassment exists, it should be punished. But turning exceptions into a rule ignores a key fact. Productivity in operational sectors is measured on the job site, not in reports. Those who deliver stay, those who can't leave. Simple, harsh, and real.
All right. So I've recorded this like 10 times and made 5-minute videos trying to tell you big giant stories to why I don't want those boxes there, but I think you know why, and I'm just going to go ahead and answer your specific question, because you clearly don't work in this industry. And for those of you that do not work in this industry that are curious as to what Melissa, the anti-gender boxes on resumes, thinks about this, first of all, not having boxes on your resume helps this, because you're only going to be judged, at least until the initial interview, like in-person interview, by your resume, which is, I don't know how much more equal you can get than that. But let's say a company doesn't hire me because I'm a woman. First of all, they're never going to tell you that, because that's still illegal and they could be taken to court for that. But why on God's green earth would I force a company to hire me that doesn't want to hire me, or a boss that doesn't want to hire me and already put a bad taste in their mouth and have a horrible work experience, when there's 10 shops down the road that don't give a shit that I'm a woman and will hire me yesterday? Like, why? I mean, at this point, I'm just wasting my time with this company. You know, jobs are like men, ladies. If they don't see your value and they don't understand your value, you're wasting your fucking time. Move on. Like, why are you even wasting your time on this company that doesn't value you, whether it's your gender or whatever? Why are you wasting your time? Why do you care? Yeah, okay, they're a very, very rare occurrence of actual sexism in this industry. And this is from experience. That is fucking rare. Congratulations. You're experiencing the most rare fucking thing in this industry, which is negative sexism towards women. Congratulations. Move the fuck on. Because at least you know that, and at least you're not wasting your time at a company that will never fucking respect you.
This is surprisingly the most grounded take. She understands that no one is obligated to hire someone based on ideology. Work is a value exchange, not moral validation. If a company doesn't see value in you, insisting is a waste of time. The market is full of opportunity for those who solve real problems. The mistake is treating rare cases as a structural norm. Explicit sexism exists, but it's the exception, not the dominant rule. Companies that survive can't afford to reject talent out of bias. Those who focus on merit, skill, and delivery find opportunities. Those who seek recognition before creating value stay frustrated.
Are you for freaking real? Seriously, this is why people don't want to hire women with young children. This person's in recruitment, because they aren't as productive. They want loads of extra accommodations and they're always off. A business isn't a charity. Are you? Absolutely. When a woman becomes a parent, a mum, their skill set is incredible. You try, right? Seriously, you try getting out for work on time after you've had multiple battles with your child, getting them dressed, getting them fed, brushing their teeth, getting everything done, getting yourself sorted, getting to school, right? Are you absolutely kidding me? And getting them, and then getting to work on time, ready to start your day. You tried that before you actually get to work. Honestly, women are flipping superheroes. And the other thing, it shouldn't just be down to the woman. So how dare businesses, and this gets me so cross, how dare businesses turn around and say they're not going to hire women with young children? Because at the end of the day, men need to start pulling their weight as well, right? We need to actually have a better gender equity here. Men are dads, right? The second parent is also the second parent. It's a two-parent flipping job, right? Why is it that it falls onto the woman's shoulders to do this? Are they going to turn around and say, we're not going to employ men of a certain age because they've got kids and stuff like that? Do you know what are these the sort of employers that say, oh, why can't your wife pick your kid up from school? Why can't your wife get your kid from nursery? Do you have to go to the production? You're a man, you're a dad. Is that really what we actually want to be at? Or do we want to be at a place where actually parents are parents and they're both raising children together, and we respect parents for being there and raising children and going out and having a career? Women are flipping superheroes. And I'll tell you something, this makes me cross. Some of the research that I've done, and you're more than welcome to, if you go to theworkplacesleepcoach.com, you will see some of the research that I've done. The latest research paper that I put out showed that even when women get to senior management positions and higher, they are still carrying 52% more of the mental load, the unpaid domestic labour, than men. Men are picking up 13%. 13 compared to a woman's 52%. They're still doing the same job, right? We cannot be turning around and saying that. We have to actually say, do you know what? The next generation of women, the next generation of girls that are going to be women are going to be having careers, because that's just the way the world is now. What are we going to do to make sure men and women, when they come into the workplace and they have families, what are we going to do to make sure that they are supported? Because this is not the right attitude. That's made me so cross.
The emotional argument ignores basic business logic. Companies don't measure invisible effort. They measure presence, availability, and results. Motherhood is demanding, but domestic effort doesn't automatically translate into workplace productivity. This isn't punishment, it's function. When someone is absent more often, requires more accommodations, and offers less flexibility, the impact is measurable. The problem isn't motherhood, but expecting the market to absorb personal costs. The solution isn't attacking companies, but structuring families with shared responsibility and clear choices. Work isn't charity, it's a contract. Those who understand this negotiate better, with maturity, not outrage.
This is the most humbled I've ever felt in my life. I'm literally holding resumes, a stack of them, so that I can go in person to places and say, are you guys hiring? It's honestly a little bit embarrassing because I'm literally applying for like minimum wage jobs, and some of them are being like, we're not hiring, and it's like, what? This is not what I expected. I graduated college with 2 degrees in communications and acting. I speak 3 languages. Oh, this sucks. Like, I just want to be a TikToker, if I'm being so for real with you. But I can't be delusional anymore. Like, I literally need to make money. So I'm just gonna keep trying.
Hire women because they're not genetically equipped to be good engineers.
So my degrees are in engineering. I have a bachelor's in biomedical engineering and a bachelor's in mechanical engineering. And I was recently talking to somebody who had worked with a woman who was a manager, like an engineering manager, and her team was all men. And she said that she doesn't hire women because the men on her team, like, don't have filters and, like, you know, et cetera, et cetera. And she just doesn't want to deal with, like, the inevitability of, like, sexual harassment and just, like, general harassment claims. And so she just, like, violates employment law and won't hire women. And, like, this blew my mind. I knew what I was getting into when I studied engineering and decided to become an engineer. Like, I know that, like, there's sexism in engineering and, like, lots of issues, but, like, that fully broke my brain. Fire the assholes on your team. What the fuck is wrong with you?
There is a serious mistake by the manager mentioned, but it doesn't prove systemic persecution. An incompetent leader chose to exclude women instead of disciplining men. That's poor leadership, not a reflection of the market. Strong leaders correct behavior. They don't eliminate talent. Still, it's important to note that companies avoid predictable problems. When a leader believes she can't control her team, she chooses the easiest path, not the fairest one. The market eventually punishes this. Workplaces that tolerate male indiscipline or weak leadership lose efficiency. Merit has no gender, but weak leadership always comes at a cost.
I have a master's degree in marketing and I gained 60,000 followers on TikTok in 2 months, and companies still don't want to hire me for entry-level positions. I see a lot of people making videos like this and everyone in the comments being like, oh, but you have a liberal arts degree, so invalid, or you're a recent graduate, invalid. I have 4 years of working experience. I graduated with my master's in 2021 and I've been working in the corporate world since 2020. I can't find a job. Guys, I literally can't find a job. I have been unemployed since October and I wanted to work in social media. I've been working in social media. I work for tech companies, big tech companies that you'll know of, small startups that you probably won't know of. About 2 months ago, I said to myself, you know what? I'm going to start a TikTok for my hobbies, but at the same time, I want to grow it because I want companies to see that I'm capable of building my own following on social media. I gained 60,000 followers in 2 months, and you know what that brought me? Absolutely nothing. Companies don't care. They don't value what I do, and they don't think that it's worth anything. I have millions of views on my reels in the past week. No one cares because it's not in a domain that they view as valuable. And I went through 4 rounds of interviews recently with a social media agency that completely wasted my time. They wanted me to do a case study for them, and I did, and they asked me a lot of questions because they had a lot of questions for how I was able to build such an engaged following in such a short amount of time. And then at the end, they asked me for a few audits that I do for freelancing. And I said no. That's really personal and you shouldn't give that out in an interview because that's intellectual property. Anyway, they came back to me 2 weeks later and they said what I knew that they were going to tell me, that they're not going to hire me because I'm not corporate enough. And that was a huge slap in the face. And I asked them, what do you mean by that? I'm not corporate enough. Hello, master's degree. Well, this is a bachelor's degree. I can't find my master's right now, but master's degree, 4 years of working experience with companies. Like, what do you mean I'm not corporate enough? And before someone says, oh, it's your hair color, I was blonde when I went through these rounds of interviews. They came back and they said, well, you know what? Actually, yeah, it's just that we're looking for someone that has more experience on like the business side of social media, not really like the influencer side. I had to pause because I was literally going to start crying. It's very hard when companies undermine your work after all this like effort that you put in to show them that you can be a part of the corporate world, for them to come back and be like, well, actually, no, not really. Like, just making me out to be some kind of influencer, like 18-year-old influencer that just started and got lucky. Like, I have so much experience and it's so sad to see companies just so rude, I guess, and like undervaluing. Don't get me wrong, I love TikTok. I love being a content creator. That'll never change, even like if I don't make money from it, even if it's not something I can use to get a job, I'll never stop because I love doing it. But it just sucks to see that companies don't value my work unless I'm sitting behind a desk. I just wanted to make this video, and it's a little bit long, but yeah, if you're going through the same thing, just know that you're not alone. And it's probably not just because you have a liberal arts degree or you're a recent graduate that you can't find anything. Like, this is happening to all of us. It's a huge struggle, and it doesn't mean that you're incapable or that you're not smart. This has everything to do with the job market right now, and it has nothing to do with you.
The market isn't devaluing women here, it's devaluing role confusion. Digital influence is not automatically corporate competence. Companies want predictability, processes, repeatable metrics, and strategic alignment. Likes aren't business KPIs unless they're tied to revenue, retention, or brand growth. Refusing to share audits may be legitimate, but it also signals difficulty operating in a corporate model. This isn't about talent, and it's about fit. Today's market is saturated, competitive, and demanding. Proving you can grow a profile isn't enough. You must show you generate revenue, reduce costs, or solve a specific problem. Everything else is noise.
The number of times that we've received this comment as either a genuine question or as a clapback to any mention of the gender pay gap in our posts is truly astounding. Basically, the question is, well, why wouldn't companies only hire women if women are cheaper because they get paid less? It's because that's illegal. The Equal Pay Act was passed in 1963, but gender-based pay discrimination remains frequent, widespread, and very much alive and well, particularly for women of color. This type of discrimination thrives in workplace environments where employers discourage open discussion of wages and where employees fear retaliation. Some examples of gender-based pay discrimination that are literally happening today include paying women less based on subjective experience criteria, relying on past salary history that may have already been informed by discrimination, which means that the discrimination is following women job to job, expecting women not to negotiate and then treating them like gold diggers when they do. We need comprehensive, updated equal pay legislation that strengthens existing protections and further combats discriminatory practices. At the current pace, women aren't expected to reach equal pay to men until 2059, and women can't afford to wait.
Let's go over some of the most sexist things I've been asked in interviews. Before anyone asks, no, none of these things are legal. Employers and HR reps are still very comfortable asking them. Know your rights, you do not have to answer. Number 1, are you pregnant? Number 2, are you planning to start a family in the near future? Like within the next 2 to 3 years? That sounds like none of your business. Number 3, what is your relationship status? Or, are you married? Or pointedly looking at your left hand and then asking where the ring is. Oh, do you have any kids at home? Or, oh, well, how old are the kids? Or, how old would you like to be when you start a family? Obviously, your birth date is on your application. So if you say, oh, by the time I'm 29, and they see that you're 27, that may hurt your chances of being hired. Do you have any family matters that would regularly require you to be out of the office? Once again, they're usually digging to see if you have kids or not, or if you're married or not. And just like with other forms of discrimination, they're usually not going to say that to your face. And if you don't get the job, they'll just say you weren't a good fit, or you didn't have the right qualifications, even if you did. Remember, none of these questions are legal and you are under no obligation to answer them.
Illegal questions exist and should be challenged, but they don't change the market's silent logic. Companies will always try to predict future risk, even without asking directly. They observe age, history, lifestyle patterns, and availability. This isn't hatred. It's calculation. The mistake is believing the corporate world operates on abstract fairness. It operates on interest. Those who understand this learn to protect their personal lives, communicate professional commitment, and deliver results that make any perceived risk irrelevant.